they say. Yeah. But you were quick on the trigger there. That was good, because he was looking for a response. And yes, herbs, you're right that garlic, one of my favorites is garlic, and that is, in fact, a plant, or I guess you call it a vegetable. All right, that could be. Tomato is a vegetable, or is it a fruit? I think tomato's a fruit. So there's fruits and vegetables, there are minerals, there are herbs and spices. I still think the spices are processed and might be a combination of a number of materials from organic matter, or they could be either a combination or they could be processed in some fashion. I don't know. But anyway, these are subtleties that I'm not certainly going to worry about. And then we have our friend in North Kingstown, Rhode Island. So let's hear what's happening out there. I've given you the weather forecast here, and oh, by the way, I looked it up again. I looked at it a little more closely. Electron flux is up. It can be up often, but the BZ is very high today. It's 8.6, so that's where this geomagnetic storm is having its biggest effect at the moment. And I guess we talked a little bit about how the 40 or 49 satellites from SpaceX, well, in the SpaceX launch, are considered to be toast because they couldn't make it to their orbit and will slowly decay in low Earth orbit and burn up in the upper atmosphere as they hit it. Kind of interesting. The geomagnetic storm caused a great deal of ionization, which expanded the universe, the atmosphere, causing a greater drag on the rocket and a greater drag on all the calculations. So the satellites didn't get high enough. But this company, whatever, I forget the name of it, has got 1,590 satellites up there. So they're not hurting. Losing 40 of them is still $100 million, but they'll still have a revenue stream. So I guess they're not too worried. They're not going to do anything for their stockholders, though. That's for sure. And one SNG. And then it goes to Perry, if you can remember that, write that down, and then to France. So, Glenn, N1SNG, take it, K1IC.
Yeah, K1IC, W3MMR, W2SDR, N1SNG. Yeah, what was that song there, Deep Purple, the band back in the 70s? Space Truckin', yeah, Space Truckin'. All right. Yeah, space junk. I was watching a show the other night, and they had this. It's space junk retrieval or something, where they're designing these robots to go out and pick up all the trash that's floating around. So then bringing it down to a point where it will re-enter the Earth's atmosphere. All right. Well, very good morning to the group. I was just up with Charlie in the agricultural and animal department there, and there for quite some time. And conditions, it was just the both of us. We could just about make each other out there. So I guess the band's not in great shape, at least from this location. And I did fix my ART-13. That is fully operational after some mind-boggling troubleshooting based on my my repair skills. I think it was the last thing in the radio that I was looking at, and I said, "Gee, what's in that box? I wonder what's in that box with the plate cap and all that going into it." So it was a relay. So I pried it open, had to unsolder a few things, and I've never seen a relay like this before. It was instead of flat contacts, there were spherical balls, and it was a center shaft. and it was like two seesaws on it, you know. And when the relay pulled, it would rotate it to the left, and then it would spring back to the right. And one of the balls had flown off. I'm looking way down in the bottom of the relay box with the LED light, and I see this thing laying there, and I'm like, I wonder if that's supposed to be there. So I pushed it over with a Q-tip, and sure enough, it had fallen off of one side of the seesaw lever. So I was able to open that up and take out that lever finger, whatever you want to call it, and carefully resolder that back into place. And my contact where that went was from the grid blocking capacitor in that circuit. So once all put back together again and got the power to it and keyed up the mic, and I got the plate current came back, the SWR, modulation, everything right in line where it's supposed to be. So yeah, I would never thought to going in there just because of the way the box looked. It looked like it might have been well, it was part of the equation, put it that way. But anyway, good morning, Frank Perry. I wonder if you have any good news there on the career department there. I know you said you had some sort of an engagement there. But anyway, we're right over to you, Perry. W3MLR from N1SNG. Good morning.
N1. Let me do this. N1SNG in the group W3MLR. Good morning, Glenn. What's up, buddy? Got the whole crew here this morning. The AM Window Morning crew. Yeah, good signals, man. Band's in great shape. Real quiet here, too. Hopefully you guys are hearing my measly 170 watts this morning. But I'm hearing you guys just fine. Lots to comment on. Well, I would have thought salt, right off the top of my head, would have spiced too. But then thinking about it, well, it is a mineral. But that's what I was saying before. Like, what class does it, fall under? To me, it's all frickin' spices. But obviously I'm wrong. And the Lord Jesus Christ being the one everybody wants to meet. Oh, that's cool. My person would be Hank Aaron. What a dude, man. I mean, so cool. Such a nice guy. I mean, all the stuff he went through. I mean, he went through just as much stuff almost as Jackie Robinson went through with all the civil rights stuff and being a black man at baseball and obviously capturing the home run title, all-time home run leader when he beat Babe Ruth and when he had to go through with that. And I would want to meet Hank Aaron, man. He was cool right up to his last day, man. They did an interview with him on MLB Network a couple of days before his death, and he was just as chipper as he was years and years before. So that's who I'd like to meet. What else we got here? As far as a job, auto tech. What job would I want to be? What I would want to change to? I don't know. Maybe something like in computers, maybe, or electronics. Something that's very needed and not many people do. So I'm sought after, because working on cars for a living is in that category, I would think. And it's a field that if you really put forth the effort to be good, to be the best you can be, you can really make some money at it. So I'd say that's not a bad choice. Maybe a welder, like a union welder or something, or like a crane operator, and guys that make like crazy amounts of money for just sitting down. That would be a cool gig. And I think Gary's got the best, though, a retired lottery winner. That right there is an occupation, folks. Oh man, Glenn. Yeah, I had everything so far. I don't want to say too much about it, but on the air. But and so far, so good. We'll leave it at that. We'll put that there. So far, so good with that. So let me see what else. Who would want to be a self-defense teacher? I don't know, man. I don't. I wouldn't want to be because I don't. Maybe it's because I'm not. I don't have confidence in my self-defense. I guess in the position that I'm in right now, currently. But like, I don't know if I would want to teach that to other people, and then like, have that responsibility. Like, oh, so-and-so taught me how to do this, and it ended up getting me killed. They wouldn't be able to tell them. But you know what I'm saying. It's not my cup of tea. Anyway, over to you, Pop. Oh, real quick, those were all Starlink satellites, weren't they? I think that they were Starlink satellites, if I heard correctly, but I could have heard wrong. W2SDR, W3MMR.
W2SDR. And good morning, Glenn. Good company down here this morning. I'm glad you got the ART-13 going. I was working on Perry's Ranger a little bit yesterday. I'm kind of looking at maybe the driver transformer being defective. We'll see what happens with that. I was talking to Perry yesterday about what you did to your Ranger, going back to the kit building manual. Because it's really messy underneath that thing. It's some of those tube sockets on those first two audio stages are just parts right on top of parts, and I mean minuscule distances between leads that could be shorting out. Insulation that's not that good on some of the little wires on the tube sockets. But it looked like some stuff was leaking out of that driver transformer underneath there. I'm just a little confused on how to hook a signal generator up to that, an audio generator too. But the problem is with the audio section, to try to drive it with a sine wave and see what I can get out of it. But those stages are transformer coupled, and I'm not used to working on stuff like that. How would you couple an audio signal generator to, say, the modulator tubes, which go through like a splitter? I mean, it's all transformer coupled. So it's got me scratching my head a little bit there. But anyway, not to belabor that point, Hank Aaron is a good choice, especially if you're a sports nut. I don't know what that wolf thing is. You guys will have to clue me in on that. It must have been either I wasn't paying attention, or I had to go down the hall, or I had signed out, but I don't remember anything about that. What's it, some kind of a noise detection thing? Wolf? I have no idea. So I didn't really respond to that fella's email and say anything about a wolf, because I didn't know what the heck he was talking about. But I knew he was talking about a noise thing, so that's why I referred him to the ARRL. But that's a whole nother topic, this noise business, because what's happening today, most of the time it doesn't seem to be the power lines. It's your neighbors. And what happens is that the power companies are very reluctant to come out, because they know, like 9 times out of 10, they're going to show up and it's not their problem. So, years ago, it couldn't have been anything else but the power line. Okay, now it's probably it's everything else but the power line that's causing the issue. Perry will be the first person to tell you that. There's so many devices, if you live in a neighborhood, that could be causing a problem that over and above anything that has to do with the power line. So the power line, unfortunately, when people call, they don't really do their homework before they call, because either they don't have the knowledge or they don't know what to do. But, it's sending these power companies on wild goose chases when it's not their issue. So a lot of times they won't even show up now because they're coming out there for nothing. So it's imperative
Because I know when I had a noise issue, according to the power company that I talked to, Atlantic City Electric, it's imperative that you make sure that you do your homework as a ham to try to eliminate as much as you can yourself before you call them, because the power companies are reluctant to come out because they figure, oh, here's another ham and it's not going to be our problem. It's probably a wall wart in his house or his neighbor. And, so that's the issue there. So it's very important that as hams that we, get noise detection equipment with directional antennas, proper receivers to track this stuff down to help the power company as much, or help the whole situation as much as possible before we actually call the power company. So that's my 2 cents. Let me see. Tupperware. You mentioned Tupperware. Tupperware is great stuff. I mean, it's so much better than a lot of these other containers. Now, it's expensive, but it's worth every cent. I have some Tupperware stuff here that it must be 30, 35 years old, and it's just as good a shape as it was and works just as well as it was the day I got it. So it's a good example of you get what you pay for. Let me see. It goes over to you, Gary, W2SDR.
Yeah, okay, Frank, very good. W2SCR with N1FNG and W3MLR K1IC. Yeah, the power line situation is always going to be a problem, at least the noise situation. By the way, the noise abatement piece of equipment is called a Wolf Wave. I don't know who makes it, but it's a noise reduction. Will reduce the background noise. There will be an optimum setting depending on the type of noise that you're encountering, for example. There may be different requirements for single sideband AM or FM. Noise reduction can be turned on or off by selecting noise reduction in the menu. Okay. Anyway, we'll see what this thing is when it arrives and whether it actually works. But I sent him this particular link so you can look at it. That's what the Wolf is, the Wolf Wave. And then you can look at that. I have my own story of noise abatement here before the current situation. Right now I have an S7 constant level here, day and night. It can vary from time to time. The person behind me, the house behind me, has solar panels on the roof, and I don't know if that's causing the problem. But I don't think it's power lines. They actually worked on the power lines in the last year or two because of Isaias came through and snapped poles because it took trees down, and that snapped the old poles. So they've replaced some of the old poles here too with newer ones. I have 2 poles in front of my house instead of 1 now. The new one has all the electrical stuff up on the top, and the old one still contains all of the communications cabling that is much lower. And the individual companies have not come out to shift it to the poles. I don't know whether they have to or not, or whether they're just going to leave 2 poles next to each other. Hard to tell. But what they did do is they cut off the top of the old one just above where the communications cabling stops. So they can't add anything else to it. And I don't know what they're going to do, or if they're going to do anything. Do they really have to? So it goes. Anyway, that was the noise reduction situation. Frank, it's very reasonable to think what you're saying, that you should spend some time investigating where this comes from. You could take a small hand receiver and walk around the neighborhood with it. I still have the little AM radio that I used to stick to my ear when I walked around the town when I was a teenager, and I could fire that boy up and use that. I also have a handheld scanner that I got long ago, probably in the 90s or 80s, and I'm using it right now. In fact, it's the monitor that I have for my repeater, which sits, of course, on the Richboro hub, so I can hear all the activity on that in the background here. So occasionally I pull it out of there and then program it. It's a little cumbersome to program. It's not intuitive enough for me, but it works. Glenn, congratulations on the ART-13 fix. That was very nice. I looked at the pictures and I wasn't quite sure what the problem was because I couldn't tell that arm, that seesaw, had the little ball at the end fall off. I knew it was off because I saw it, but I didn't know whether you were trying to fix it in some way. I thought maybe that the ball had pitted and you were going to replace the ball or polish it up or something. But anyway, the pictures were appreciated, and that helped a lot. And congratulations, because it's nice to find that, to get it up and running again, and to know that you've exercised your gray matter, little gray cells, as Perot would say, and got it done. So, terrific. Today's, what's on for today? I'm not sure what's on for today. I was dispatched to the library a couple of days ago by my bride to get a book, but they were all out of it. People already checked it out. So that job couldn't be completed. And I do look after an 83-year-old guy, and I go see him daily, make sure he's doing okay, which has good. I tackled his cell phone yesterday. He has a Galaxy, a Samsung Galaxy phone with an Android system on it, and that is so antithetical to the iPhone that I have. It's very hard to figure out what to do. I mean, you wander around, and of course you have muscle memory for your own, and you want to do this to start something, and it doesn't work. You have to relearn everything. But I managed to bring it to a friend who was able to put an Uber app on it. I didn't know that you had to go to play.google to download all the different apps that you need. So we got that done and set up. Because it was on there, but I couldn't get it to take a credit card. So I just erased the whole app and wanted to start again and got stuck. So I took it to a friend and they did it for me. And then I followed the instructions after I figured out that in order to get to your voicemail or system, you have to hit *86. Send that, and then you get onto it and you get instructions for how to set up the voicemail. I set that up for him, and then I figured out myself, as I'm getting better at it, to add another email. He had 2 emails, and so now all his email goes to his phone as well. And that'll help. So I made some progress last night, but it was excruciatingly slow and somewhat frustrating, but that's just the difference between systems. It's like being a Windows operator for many years and then going over to Linux. Good luck. And one SNG in North Kingstown, Rhode Island. Here's K1IC in the Floodfield section of Fairfield, Connecticut. Over to you, Glenn. Don't forget, Harry then Frank.
Okay. K1IC. Hey, thanks for taking care of the old guy there. You're doing a good job with that. It's good to see that some people somewhat in the caregiver mood, And, Geisman doesn't have any really close family or anything like that. It's that age. I imagine it gets a little frightening in a sense. But anyway, keep up the good work, Gary. Yeah, we have those telephone poles down here, too. National Grid comes in and they put brand new poles on it. They take all their infrastructure and reposition it up on the top. They cut off what's left at the bottom. National Grid, those wires are hanging there. So every time you see a National Grid pole around here, it's got another pole tied to it. With the Verizon trash hanging off of it, and we had a guy came over the other day and he did something, increase the internet speed or something. I don't get that. But anyway, it was part of the new package that we got for servicing. And I said, hey, so what's up with all the, like, look at trees in the area here, they're growing up, and the branches are underneath the communications lines, and they're lifting up the wires. You know, as a tree grows, the wires go up. And I says, isn't there like a cutback program? He says, nope. He says, fix when broken. Oh, okay. That's what he said to me. He says they will not go out, and they will do as little as possible, and that's how it is on the on the poles that are left behind with the communications lines on them. I mean, it's like that all over North Kingstown, and I don't know if they're going to come through one day with a battalion and do that whole transplant. Or maybe National Grid actually leases the spots to them. I don't know. Be interesting to find out, because National Grid shares that pole. I don't know if it's the other way around. Maybe National Grid pays or whatever, but National Grid seems to be doing all the work here, putting the new poles in. But when you see that, it's like, it's like, what the heck's going on? Yeah, that's for sure. And but other than that, good luck on that again, Perry. Hopefully everything goes as planned there. And the ART-13. I have to walk away from that stuff many a time. I get very frustrated with it. Just because of what my entry level skills with trying to repair some of the gear. It's kind of a plug and play and mentality with it, but I look at it as plumbing, And Frank, on the Ranger, yeah, that sounds like it's a mess, man. Jesus. I don't know. I got hundreds of tube sockets here. If you need any, just give me a holler. Imagine you have the same. But that whole entanglement there, even to access, some of the tube lugs, underneath. I have some HO10 scopes that are like that. It's just like they just hooked everything up and poured solder over it. Really no attention to detail and stuff, but I've heard some of the guys doing that, just pulling it all apart. That's a big job. I don't care how you look at it. It's like, do I just buy another one and start over or whatever? But anyway, hopefully that works out, and maybe it's just that transformer, and leaving everything else alone, but. Sometimes you just can't do that. Why did the transformer go to begin with, That's for sure. Yeah, I got that email from the guy out in New York. And I told him to look up W1UX on the QRZ, and maybe he could find the contact information there. I didn't give him anything other than that. And again, I redirected it to the ARRL a site there, and to read up on that there. And there is so much stuff out there. I know, Perry, you've been through it. I look around the neighborhood here, up the street, 4 houses, solar panels. Across the street from me, solar panels. And it's just the same thing over and over again. And if it is power line noise, I don't know. I'm not going to go out and spend $1,000 on equipment. I've done the radio finding, direction finding, and all that. And there's just so much else in this area. It's like you're surrounded by noise here, and just the utilities themselves, communications, and the devices people's outside air conditioning systems, pool pumps. I mean, Terry, you probably have a list far greater than myself here. But, we'll try to get them out here and see what they can do. And just say, hey, all right, this is what it is. One way or the other, and accept it as it is. I know they'll help out with it if they can. But like Frank was saying there, it's just another ham radio guy. Yeah, put it on the back burner. But I don't expect anybody to come out here at this time of year. And then just the way I'm looking at it. So in the spring, I'll try to reactivate the order there and see what happens. No big deal. It's not. I just live with it. It's just one day it came on, like somebody plugged it in. So enough of that. And right over to you, Perry. I think you're going to be. I don't know if you're working today or not, but 28 degrees in Rhode Island this morning. W3MMR and 1SNG. WQCHX.
Yeah, there's a breaker in there. HX is all I heard. Good morning to the breaker. We'll get it over to you here in a minute. All right. Well, W3MR here. Boy, oh boy, lots to wrap my mind around here. Before I get to the noise thing, I looked up that Wolf Wave, Gary. Pretty cool, but not for AM, unfortunately. It'd be alright for DXing and sideband and stuff, but the bandpass doesn't go lower than 100 hertz on AM, sideband, whatever. Even with it disabled, it goes to the maximum range of 100 to 5,000 hertz. So it might work real well, but it probably doesn't sound real well on AM. But I guess to each their own. But it does look like a cool unit. Yeah, I didn't even look up the price or anything like that. I just was reading through its features and all, and the specifics. But nope, never heard of it. That's the first time for me there, Gare. If you need tube sockets, I have a bag of smaller, the small tube sockets for 12AX7s and things like that. I have a bag of ceramic tube sockets if you need them. And about the noise, and I'm not going to go on a big diatribe about it, but in my experience, 99% of the time, every single time, it's been in somebody's house over the last 4 years. Every single time. From the beginning, I thought it was power line noise. It's got to be power line noise, but after experiencing so many different types of noises from different types of things, different types of RFI, and then also hearing the power line noise it has, and I get it now every once in a while, only when it's really, really cold out. You can hear the difference between the two, and I mean, they could sound very, very similar, but the real key is with like a switching supply or solar panels or things like that. Gary, with the solar panels are usually, and same with the switchers, it'll be an interference that's say 20 kilohertz wide or 5 kilohertz wide, okay, and every 20 kc up and down the band. It'll be like, super equal every 10 kilohertz, every 15 kilohertz up and down the band. And that's usually, switching power supply. And I've seen videos of guys who've had solar panels kick on, and it's the same thing. Broadbanded noise can be like it could be line noise, could be heat pumps. If somebody's really close to you, that roaring, like the type noise. The power line noise has an arc, has a tick to it almost. Like you can hear the tick of the arcing almost. And if you had a pan adapter, and you can see the difference between them all. It's crazy. But the only way you're going to get away from it now is to move out in the middle of nowhere, or like me, knocking on people's doors every now and then, which I'm tired of doing. So, but the power company will come out, man. Like every time I've had to have them come out, the 2 times I thought it was a pole. I had pole numbers for them. I sent freaking pictures. You can send attachments with my power utility and stuff. And I also had the guy's email, so I was able to email him videos too. So, and they were out within a couple of weeks. The one time they were out within 2 weeks, and the second time took a little longer. But I was in contact with the guy, because first time he gave me his card, and I was able to, contact him direct, put in the work order, and once the work order was in, he was like, all right, I'll make some time, I'll come out there. So, but yeah, doing your due diligence with the ham is definitely the best option, to get the help. And then there's Glenn, you got all this stuff I showed you. There's so much information online about all this stuff on the ARRL's website, YouTube, so on and so forth. So if you want to learn about it, they show can. So let's all move to the middle of nowhere, and then we'll all have quiet noise floors. How's that sound, guys? Let's all move. We're all going to pack up, get U-Hauls, and go. Over to you, Pop, and then pick up the breaking station, W2SDR, and the group W3MMR.
Let me let him right in. Breaker, go ahead. W2SDR.
W2CHX. But I think I've got a problem this morning, and I'm not putting that much power. I don't know why. So thanks for recognizing me, and I'll just pass it on. This is W2CHX.
Well, you're 20 over here. What do you think your issue is?
I don't know. I'm not getting anything on my power meter, and that may be the problem. So if I'm 20 over, that's pretty good. I'm only running about 50 watts. So we'll check that out, and I'll pass it on to whoever gets it next. Thank you.
Okay there, W2CHX. I didn't get your name. My name is Frank. My call is W2SDR, Whiskey 2, Sierra Delta Romeo. Well, you really got to have a pan adapter, like Perry was saying, guys, so you can see what these signals look like, what this noise looks like, and where it is, if it's spaced out and stuff. That's what any of these noise finders from the power company and from other companies use a spectrum at. I mean, it's imperative. And, unfortunately, these issues are going to get nothing but worse. Perry's absolutely right. It seems like 9 out of 10 problems today is neighbors. So, but it's easy to figure out if it's a neighbor. I mean, it's very sad, and it doesn't cost $1,000 worth of stuff. I don't have $1,000 worth of stuff. I got a little Yagi and an MFJ noise detector, a little receiver. I think that was like $80. And what it does, it receives at around 120 megahertz on AM. And this little hand-pointing Yagi that I have, it tracks it down really easy. And we track Perry's out right down to the house. And, so that's doesn't require a whole lot of money to figure it out. And, there's a lot of every day of the week they're out there in different areas of the county. And that are supplied by Atlantic City Electric. And they've been on my property. I have 4 poles that come back from the road, and they trim my trees without even calling them. They keep the limbs far away from the high voltage wires so they don't have outages. To cut down on the number of outages and failures. But that's not true, obviously, everywhere in the country. So I consider myself extremely lucky in that regard. But you just never know. It's unfortunate. So, well, I don't have really much more here. I'll keep it short because Perry's got to go to work. So I'm going to make sure he gets as much time as transmissions as he can. CHX, it was nice meeting you this morning. Hope you get your issues squared away. But you were coming through pretty well. I think if you're not showing any power on your power meter, something is amiss other than your transmitter. So there you go. So I wonder what the topic is going to be on the morning brew this morning. We'll have to see. But they probably didn't realize what the whole spice thing is, So that's I learned a lot yesterday by knowing there's differences, So stand corrected. Anyway, that wolf thing, I looked at it real closely. I'll look at those again. But my experience has been with some of those things, like the real speech, all those DSP noise reduction things. That the very mixed results on that stuff. Let's put it that way. That's a whole lot of money, $275 for that, and I have my doubts on how well something like that in the real world will actually work. So that's a lot of money. I hope I would only buy something like that if I can get my money back. Okay, I wouldn't want to take a chance and then be stuck with something for $300 that didn't work that well. That's all I can really say about that. So I'm going to listen out here. K1IC in the group, W2SDR. Enjoyed it this morning.
Okay, Frank with a pause. W2SDR in the group, K1IC. By the way, W2CHX is Fred in Pawling, New York. So he's been in a number of times here in the mornings. He also is on the one of the older guys around that we used to be on in the morning in around 2003, 4, 5, actually around 2010, 8 or 9 or 10 when W1RF was on his way down the Intracoastal Waterway. We used to meet every morning. Okay, well, Frank, it says here that herbs are usually the leafy parts of plants and can be sweet or savory in flavor. Some other parts of the plant, such as bark, seeds, berries, roots, etc., are also considered herbs and used for medicinal purposes. Spices are seasonings obtained from bark, roots, buds, fruits, flowers, parts and seeds of plants, used in food for flavor, color, or as a preservative. So there's subtle differences between what an herb is and what a spice is. Okay? And they seem to come from the organic matter, which is usually living matter, plants, the plant kingdom. And I guess it depends on what it's used for. But it's always used for flavor, and so they're both used for flavor. It's very subtle to know the difference between the two. So there you go. I'm not sure I can find a definitive way of defining, that's redundant, a spice versus an herb. But, yeah, okay. So I think that the spices are a process, and the herbs are usually just taken as they grow, so a plant leaves, etc. All right, enough on that. Yeah, we've covered the gamut this morning, so Frank, I can see it's time to move on. And Morning Brew will be here in another 12 minutes, and you can enjoy the show. So with that, Glenn, and then he goes on from there. So I was just very sad to go off to work soon as well, too. So Glenn, pick it up and start it all over again. And when FNG in the group, K1.
Yeah, Terry, why don't you pick it up? I know you got time constraints here, and then pass it back to me. Go ahead.
Well, thanks, Glenn. Yeah, I'm not going to make a long one here. And good morning to Fred. That's Fred, W2CHX. Well, Fred, you're about 5 to 10 over S9 here. Everyone else is about 15 to 20 over. But you are well above my low noise floor of S8 this morning. I'm so happy I got low noise. All this noise talk this morning, man. Yeah, it can be so, Glenn, it's just like, this hobby's a big part of our lives. Let's be honest. This is a lot of our social lives here. No, mine anyway. And, that ruins it. It ruins the whole experience. It flat out does. And, but luckily there's other modes, of operation too, and other bands that aren't as difficult or susceptible to RFI, like 160 meters, 660 meters or whatever it is, or 2200 meters, and obviously a 75. But, the times they are a-changing, as Mr. Dillon said. So anyway, listen, guys, it's been fun. Great signals this morning. Have a fantastic day, boys. And we'll see you guys tomorrow morning, hopefully, if the good Lord's willing and the creek don't rise. We'll be on the Milrad net tomorrow morning in Ted's memory. And hopefully all goes well with the conditions as far as that goes tomorrow morning. Catch you later, Fred, Glenn, Pop, if you're still listening, and Gary. 7-3, catch you guys next time. N1SNG to take it. This is W3MMR. We'll be listening for the remainder.
Yeah, W3MMR and 1SNG. Okay, Terry. Yeah, very good. Have a safe day, man. And good luck. You know what you do there? You just faded right out. So it's probably a good time to pull the plug here. I'll listen out. I don't know if you're going to pick it up again, Gary, or not. I'm going to just listen out here for a bit. I don't know if Fred's having issues down there. Good morning to you, Fred. Putting 2CHX. I just heard you when you came in there back a while ago there. So very good morning to you. So Gary, I'll send it over to you. I don't know how you're hearing me, but I know Perry just he just dissolved. So anyway, K1IC and 1SNG.
Well, I'm hearing you quite well, as I always do. But if you want to take a break, that's good. Yeah, I can QSY. No worries. 7-3 Perry, 73 to Frank, who's probably already off somewhere. I do have some more information on herbs and spices here as I was reading, but I'll hold off on that till tomorrow or the next day or whenever. So, very good. So, Glenn, I guess you're going to take a break and get some coffee or something over?
I'm just going to hang up the phone right now, and I got to get in the back room. I had a mess. I made such a mess yesterday just going through the ART-13 and stuff. I've got meters and soldering irons, and it's I really have to get that done this morning. So it's great hearing you again, Gary. Your signal's been very consistent with the 160-meter activities, and it's pretty quiet right now with the noise levels acceptable. So I'm going to use that word. And next to the R390A has a little bit of forgiveness left in it. So well, good topics, and maybe catch you a little bit later on tomorrow morning, and spend a little time with Charlie in the wilderness this morning, and hopefully we'll catch up with you maybe a little later on. K1IC and 1SNG 7-3s.
Okay, very good, Glenn. 7-3. Have a good day. You did a nice job on that. Now comes the ugly part of having to clean up after it. Put everything away, polish and dust. It's all part of the job. Unfortunately, it's the part you don't like to do because it's just tedious. But then again, you're setting yourself up for the next fun job. So, very good. Talk to you tomorrow. If not, the next time down the log. Have a good day. N1SNG signed. This is K1IC. Clear with your station and the QRT.
Cheers, Gary.
washers. You know, they're calling plates, chassis, the tubes and everything. But there's one, I'm trying to remember the name of it. I had it. I own one of them. It was built with the tuner and the preamp and a cabinet that sat between your two chairs. Sort of like an end table, except this was in the middle maybe. And then it had a cable that ran to the amplifier across the room. And I thought that was a neat idea. Save you from having to get up. You could just use, the tuner and anything else right there, and then have the speaker amp across the room. But I can't remember the name of it. But I got to have my fingers in some of that old stuff, before it started drying up. And occasionally when we had our shop, we would see one come in. There were still a few of the old pushers and Scott pieces of equipment left. And I was fine stuff. It was really pleasant to work on that. Over to you, Mike. W4AX, A4VZX.
Okay, Art's in there, so Bob's Ford Company was a little room for Art. Well, he was in there. I don't see him connected right now. But anyway, Art's probably going to join us if he's connected here. Bob maybe leave a little room in case he wants to join after Alan's connected. And about all around, I hope you do get to see Mike Walker, Mike's guys. And I think my major activity today is to clean up the CNC shop and reorganize. I have been on for inspection by Jay. And so it won't be quite white glove, but I'll get things straightened up and cleaned up a little bit. It's generally not there. I need to do some better organization. I did order on eBay. I saw an exciter for P368. And I said, that make a 50 FOs or something. I think it was only $30. And I picked up the exciter that's supposed to be delivered on Monday. So that'll be a project with vacuum tubes on the bench and sort of see what kind of output, et cetera, you get out of a P368 exciter. And if I have to restore it, I will. Info-ZI, W4AX.
Okay, W4AX.
Info-ZI. Exciter. P368.
Mine is got a metal, really nice 29. Excited this right here. I was able to secure a fairly large amount of coils for these various plugins with that. Anyway, not much going on here. The weather's the same as what it is at Max. It's only about 13 miles away. And I'll be take one of those sports cars and head up to Alaska for lunch today. A nice trip up in the mountains in the car and lunch, and come on back to North South Carolina before fun. Other than that, I'm keeping going. We'll see you there, Bob. And for a change,
Oh, good, man. There you are. I'll slip you in here between me and Joe. Glad got you in here. Art and I have been texting here for a little bit this morning, and I asked him if he'd come in and join us because I'm going to get ready to get out here. In fact, I'm going to sign on this one, but I'm going to listen around to gather up my stuff because I got to start heading towards the airfield. I like to get in there way before they open the floodgates so I can be ready. Not that anything big's going to happen, but it's such a hassle to get in there after they open the gates. I'm going to start heading over there because I've got a 30-minute drive from where I'm staying. I'm staying over here at the airport, by the way. And speaking of airports, Jay, yes, Alliance Airport is an unusual place. You know, of course, you know who built that airport. And Ross Perot really built it. And he made an interesting proposition. First of all, he didn't ask for any special dispensations for building the airport as far as taxes or anything else. But he also gave all kinds of good special deals for people that come in and use it. Now, this is when it first opened years and years ago, and they even built an FAA office there, and the rent was $1 a month. I don't know whether, I'm sure that's all changed since Junior's taken over and has been overcome by other events, and then it's going to use this place. Of course, I'm very familiar with that little discussion I had with you guys at the ranch, Jay. One of the activities was out of there, and the airplane is still there, but it belongs to somebody else now. So, interesting stuff, guys. Really is interesting stuff. Okay. Matt, good luck on getting everything cleaned up. Boy, I tell you, I should take a picture of the ham shack right now because, well, actually, no, it's actually looking pretty good because it's kind of empty. We're really getting down to it now. Really good news about the care planning meeting at the Life Defense. Here she comes, and I'll talk to you guys later. It's 4JK. Good morning, guys. KS4AJ.
Thank you, Lord. Alan. Anybody know? I've always been working I'm glad to hear that law enforcement has already been given good homes here, Bob. And like I said yesterday, Jim was trying to go. And there are good days and bad days. Right now, I'm really trying to just kind of keep squared on. So, the day before that, great day. Hopefully we can get back on the computer. Yeah, I can just picture your old CP-8 now with a C-48 with a CL-259 with open power. But that's not. But pictures to hear about new location and also kind of like the development in the country. With also oh, yeah, John. I was going to go there and they put JCP and for those conversations.
Orlando, I guess, we'll have to wait till Monday, probably. I guess give me a full report, but sounds like getting started off properly. It sounds like progress has been made over there. I know, empty to give them, no doubt. Been quite a trip over that way. Signal out at the end of the tunnel. I don't think it's too funny. Keep you in faith in our prayers and hope second. Dexterity provided. If any others go to follow suit, it's safe to make sure he's dexterous with his hands. That'll allow her to ring the bell properly. Monkeys are
Okay, JKK5, I am. At one point in time, I had a shot, RBO receiver. It was mainly a entertainment receiver. There was one on the deck of the Yorktown carrier. And I gave it that was a fabulous AM receiver. That thing was, it was something else. It was heavy as a dickens too. But it was well shooted. I don't remember how it flopped out around there at 455 signal. Shooting or what it was. But, this one was off for an aircraft carrier. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and follow you up 40 meters. So I'll go ahead and see you. I'll talk to you in a few minutes. K4BZS, K4SNY, 17, John. K4SNY, K4BZS, W3, sir. Solid.
not yet, that's probably next time. Jay, I think I too will bail out and go get a shower, eat a little breakfast, and hit the road. So, I don't know when we're coming back. They were talking a lot, see if we get that new transfer going again. I mean, with Bob. Hey, we're looking forward to getting down to South. Good to hear it, everybody. Good group support. Let's stay with us. Good news. Look forward to seeing that back over. Anyway, I'll go ahead and bail and say thanks for listening. Talk to you next week.
Okay, John. Because it's like you're thinking a little bit. Feel free to stay on the reservoir and chat on after the reservoir to the 72 approved. So there will be a constant conflict. And so no rush for you to decide here. And blessing is the key. That's why it's been too good a process. Tom, when you're on your way back, I'll have to touch you on 74 approved. Okay, and I do look forward to seeing all you guys tonight. 1 week from this one, and I'll be spending the whole day in the kitchen cooking. So, not only take care of your son, because you be sure that that night don't operate. So we'll put that up. Probably free all around. Have a great weekend. I'll talk to you in a minute. Info Jedi. That's the point. about the sort of thing. Make an education family. Going around talking about something else. So maybe there's a skip in there. I don't know if it's been mentioned before, but I saw the note the other day that Bob Powell, I guess he sold business to a couple of guys that are turned him over to him. Maybe he may still have some interest in it. Interesting going on. Certainly over the years there's is equipment, what little of it being used. Two tips. One's the small one and the other one's the larger. It says sure, no problem. So, the lady that accompanied the sister and lady had about a dozen TVs all over the place. Population loaded about 100 out here.
anyway, Art, I'll let you get this. Have a good one.
Woo!